Good morning, everyone. Shavua Tov. So last night when we were walking to shul, we saw the sheriffs were on every corner, all along County Road, and they were sniffing dogs, walking down the street, smelling every car. So I asked one of the sheriffs, what's going on? They said the president's going to be coming down here, so they blocked off the whole road, and they had the dogs smelling the cars to make sure there's no bombs. Now this week's parsha talks about dogs. This week's parsha says, what does a Jew do when they have a torn piece of flesh in the field? Basa basada treifa. A wolf came or whatever and attacked the sheep, let's say, and ripped off some of the flesh of the animal, and it's not kosher for human consumption for us because it wasn't slaughtered the animal. What do you do with this ripped piece of meat from an animal in the field? A treifa. So the Torah says, what should you do? You should throw it to the dog. Let the dog have the nice piece of meat. You can't eat it. It's not kosher. Give it to the dog. So the Das Scheiner, one of the commentaries in the Torah says, if you look at the vowel, it doesn't say likela, to the dog. It says lakela, to the dog, the dog. Which dog should you throw it to? So he says it's talking about the watchdog. The watchdog is supposed to protect the sheep. And now that a sheep got attacked and there's a piece of ripped meat, give it to that dog, the watchdog. What's the idea and the lesson of giving the ripped piece of meat to the watchdog? So the Das Scheiner explains that the dog failed in its mission to protect the animal. But instead of being upset at the dog, give the dog a piece of meat to encourage it and appreciate all the good it does in general. And the message is so powerful that sometimes in life there are human beings that fall a little short, they fail us, they don't deliver what they were supposed to do. And instead of showing disappointment and anger and rebuke towards them, precisely at that moment that you would be upset at them for not fulfilling their task, that's the time to elevate them, to raise them up, to encourage them, to empower them, and to be grateful for them for all of their efforts on your behalf, even though at this moment they failed. I think the best example is the first story in the Torah. We know that Adam and Eve were created, and Eve ate from the tree, and God Adam to eat from the tree. And after God saw that they ate from the tree of knowledge, God says, as a result of eating from the tree, man came from dust, they will return to dust. So the punishment was death. And right after God pronounces death on mankind as a result of the sin, what does the Torah say? Adam turns to his wife and says, up until now you were just called the woman. Now I'm going to give you a name. What's your name? Chava, Eve. What does Chava mean? Because you're the mother of all life. Just when instead of turning to his wife and say, look what you did. You're the cause of death. We're all going to die as a result of what you did now. He says the opposite. He says, even though we got punished and you caused us to get this punishment by eating from the tree and getting meat to eat, the fact of the matter is you are the first mother of mankind, and therefore you're the mother of all life, and you're no longer the woman, you're now Chava, Eve. And Adam shows us that instead of getting disappointed when people fail, that's the moment to lift them up when they're down. Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach famously says that, he says, if God forbid the Chazan is carrying the Torah around the synagogue and the Torah falls, what would happen in the synagogue? There would be a collective gasp. People would run to the floor, lift up the Torah, kiss it, hug it, cry. He says, but what happens when a Jew falls on the ground sometimes? People just either walk by him, let him lay there, or they even step on him. He said a Jew is holier than a Torah. Just like you would raise up a Torah that's fallen, you would embrace it and hug it and kiss it. So too, when you see a Jew falls on a hard times or falls on a mistake that they made, or embarrassment or shame, and they fall, that's the time not to trample on them like often people do when they're down. That's the time to raise them up, elevate them, and embrace them.